Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another cast of Vanguard. My name is Thomas JaKaTaKtv, UI lead and community manager for Sunspear Games. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we've got Theo and Ektar representing the red team. And for the blue team, we've got Ace and Torino. So ZT versus ZP here on Summer Palace, one of our newer maps, of course by Cantuva. The initial scouts beginning to go out, the initial builds beginning to begin. And very interesting. It looks like Overlord over here, so single Overlord for Ace before expansion, but Ektar, however, no Overlord at all. So we have three expansions first, and then you see Ektar with one Overlord ahead of time, only going to be slightly behind, and that one Overlord does give you quite a bit of security, so I think it's very much worth the trade for Zergs to go for at least one Overlord, but Ektar going the full greed all the way down, pedal to the metal greed. And we start to see gases popping up as well. So Theo will be taking the slightly safer route of following up with the army investment first, right? We have the barracks, we have the gateway, so it looks like Torino is matching him that way. And we have the two Zerg players beginning to gas up pretty heavily. It looks though that in general, yeah, look at this. Blue team is going a lot heavier into tech early on compared to red. So we'll see how red responds once that scouting is off. Keep in mind these units are melee. I know we're used to the ranged adept. This is a melee adept. A little bit different. And another thing that I hope we get to see in this map, this matchup rather, especially because of the late scouting, is going to be the Reaper cliff jump and the sonic transfer of the Terran and Protoss scouts respectively get unlocked by just building the building. So Cybernetics core for the Protoss will unlock sonic transfer for the adept for additional scouting opportunities. And on the other side, you have the Reaper cliff jump that gets unlocked by either the factory or the infantry compound, which is the building for stim and combat shields and other such wonderful things. Okay, no, it's only just for those things, but it does unlock the secondary tier 1.5 infantry units for Terran. As we see this guy, oh, there it is. That sonic transfer. Just like you're used to in StarCraft 2, but with a full vision radius instead. Which is quite nice. And really smart move over here, Ektar, taking out these rocks really making it a lot easier for you to take this base and this base. Holding this position here with your army can allow you really quick defenses here and here, especially because this choke is very easily walled off. You can see on the other side of the map where the rocks are taken down, this becomes a very different kind of scenario to defend, going all the way around through here. So nice due diligence here by Ektar, and it looks like he's gonna be, what, taking down these rocks, maybe? Thinking about it? We'll see. Keep in mind, this map does have that particular 2 gas in the corner, 2 gas expansions. Yeah, he is taking down these rocks. These double gas expansions are incredibly valuable, allowing you to have a much more sophisticated army in the later and mid stages of the game. We're having a little bit of a move out here, mostly scouts? All scouts? Wow, we have an all scout move out here from the adept. Gonna be a big sonic transfer. Keep in mind though, they don't do anywhere near as much damage in this game. So, trying to get back here and deal with these adepts. Got a siege tank in the area. In the meantime, blue is moving out a bit. 3 tanks in this particular push. Ooh, might lose a tank as he's probably distracted by this run by. We'll lose at least 1 tank. Very unfortunate. But he's gonna have to help this tank out. Will take a very, very long time. This is not something you're used to seeing, adepts being killed by workers. Workers, quite beefy in Vanguard. A little more HP than you might be used to. And let's see, this is quite the push. We're gonna have an Overseer for the high ground vision. These tanks will be able to nail this to the ground, but quite a few zealots and not that many marines. Also the hydralists from the high ground getting involved in the action a bit as well. Going to take down this attack with relative ease. Reinforcements are going to trickle in, but by this point, it's too little, too late. Very nice defense. That could have been an awful position to be in as Ektar had they not taken that out almost immediately. Some excellent defense. 5 base versus 5 base here, but we do see Torino with the high ground CC getting ready. Actually it's producing, this is intense. Torino found a glitch where you can produce SCVs to long distance mine from here. I'm sure that's in the bug report thread now. Nice one. Well done, Torino. Thank you for the bug fixing. Finding this stuff before anyone else does. Nice little pullback micro with the rotated turret of the tank. Gonna help get some extra damage out of them as they retreat. However, this attack is catching a lot of units off guard. Zergling's gonna try to run by and get something done. Ace does have equal upgrades to Ektar on the Zergling front, so that's about the same. Surprised they didn't continue to push that further. May have been a little bit of an error, as Ace is going to take this very vulnerable mineral-only base wide out in the open. Pretty tricky to defend, but so far unscouted by the red team. And that's going to make a pretty big difference. Keep in mind too that this is totally open for the taking. It's very valuable. Double gas base. Most expansions have no gas or 1 gas. This is the only map with double gas expansions. And you can see we're gonna be clearing that out as this gets into land. I wonder, yeah, it's got 11 SCVs already that have been long distance mining this whole time, which is actually a bit of a mineral drain on Torino. Building more workers than is necessary. Do that little glitch there. Pretty defensive setup so far, but ooh. Ektar really beginning to pump out the Lings. 2-2 en route. +2 attack already done for Ace, so he's at an upgrade advantage. He's also gonna have this Wild Mutation on his side. Wild Mutation, oh my god, evaporating this base, just running out there. And that's why we talk about these bases being so tricky to defend, so vulnerable. There's very little to stop them. However, despite the fact that they lost this base, because the Lings weren't here to fight in concert with the siege tanks, that was a pretty easy victory for Theo against the siege tank-based army. Oh, double moves there. We have a Plague as well as the Dark Swarm to protect the Lings. However, they've moved out of it by this point. Oh, and he's gonna lose. Oh man, he's gonna lose at least one? I thought he was gonna lose on more. Let's see. Oh, he's getting tripped up with an attack move. He's got to get out of here. Burrow is researched, but there's an observer here as well, so he's gonna have to run all the way home. Torino here available to defend. Oh my god. And these are scouted. We're gonna have base for a base here, as these outside bases so difficult to hold. Torino getting ready, I think, to lift off into this base. Little does he know the rocks are already down, and that will be an incredibly difficult base to hold. Taking a look at the economies, we can see that blue in the slight lead at the moment, but especially as these two bases come online and the lack of these two bases on the other side, in a little bit here we're going to see a nice swell of economy for the red team. Zergling speed on the way for Ektar, much later than that of his opponent, Ace. His Zerg opponent, right? Who's the better Zerg? They're going back and forth here to find out. It's interesting to see this Hydra Defiler composition. We don't get to see too much. And Ektar getting, this is so fortuitous. Oh, he didn't see it! Or did he? Oh, I don't think he saw it. I don't think he saw it! Oh, nice Burrow is gonna save those units just to the last minute. Very well done there. Overall, this should be cleaned up quite quickly. The more important engagement is over here with these charged zealots running into the siege tanks, getting on top of them with the support of the dragoons. Going to be able to take out this force yet again. Victories on this side, this area of the map over and over again for red team, and defeats for blue. Torino going to move in and notice what's going on over here, thanks to the scouting Ling of Ace. And not going to be able to take this base. Pretty big investment. And 0 return, so that is quite unfortunate for blue team. Though they do have the army lead overall. As you can see, we were talking about before, now that these bases have fully kicked in, or almost fully kicked in, the economic lead for Ektar and Theo, the red team, very strong as they move into their higher tech units. The Lurker we can see here. Hydra Lurker on the other side as well. Very interesting. We usually have tended to see either Hydra Lurker or Ling into something much more higher in tech. But that is not the case in this particular scenario. It looks like they've gone from Lings into Hydra Lurker. And this is an incredibly trenched position. Really nice move here by Ektar. That's a lot of units that won't be on the field, that won't be able to stave off this incredibly slow push. The Lurker and the Siege Tank just combine so well. So many of the units that are just going to try to run in and deal damage to the Siege Tank will get shredded up by the Lurkers if they're in position at the time. 2 is not too many. We have Lurker versus Lurker battles getting set up over here. Oh my god, but in the meantime, the harassment is all over the place. One base has been taken out over here. We've got Zealot run-bys. We have so many units going through in the main. And that's one way to break an entrenched position. Simply ignore it and go the other way. Red team is all over the place right now. Running by into the base. Into multiple. This base is getting shut down really hard. Going back into the natural as well. This base in the meantime is still getting attacked slightly, but will be defended overall. Backdoor natural of Torino being taken out. In the meantime, we do have counter aggression coming across from Ace, taking out this base. And at this, oh, this is insane. There's so much aggression all over the map right now. At the moment, red team still in economic favor. But this position by these Lurkers have managed to cut off quite a few important reinforcements. Link's still hanging out in the back, and it looks like we have a moment to settle. Let's take a look how the economies ended up. Still very much in favor of red. Army size as well. That was a really, really big win for the red team. They were able to ignore this attack over here completely by running by and taking a lot of great little skirmish fights here and here. Really being very cost efficient in what they do and abusing the immobility of that siege tank slow push kind of a composition. Ooh, siege tanks here. Speaking of which, not in siege mode. I'm gonna try to pounce on them, but a little bit too late. The entire red army coming through at this point. Only 3 siege tanks. And again though, another counterattack by Ace. This is really important when you're behind in army. You've got to make those counterattacks count, because if you don't, you just get into a main fight with someone with a bigger army than you by this significant of a margin. That's going to be the way it goes down. Torino with no army count at all, and the base being ravaged as well. I have a feeling this isn't going to last too much longer, but I've been wrong many times before. Nice run by over here with the Zealots. We'll take out this outer, very rich base. Lots of minerals left to mine here. In the meantime, these Lurkers should be able to clean up the links. Nicely done. Oh, look at this Lurker run by. This is so annoying. We look. You can see it because it's hidden. Which is a bit odd of a thing to say, but because it's not fully cloaked, because it is hidden, the workers come around. And now there's no units around the Lurker. It's invisible. That's how that mechanic works. A little bit softer than the hard invisible or not invisible, detector or not detector relationship. Oh, I love this. Ace just gonna burrow the 3 Zerglings, probably when no one is paying attention. You know, Theo's in the middle of a big fight right now. Those 3 Zerglings may be able to get quite a bit done later on. Oh my god! And a fantastic tactical move with the destructible rocks, or the collapsible rock towers, what have you. Buying some time and cutting off that bad engagement that was going to be there for Theo. That's really what blue team needs right now. They need really cost-efficient engagements because they're so far behind in army size. Their economy quite small as well. This is very, very tricky scenario to run through. Also, you notice the medic has been showing up in these fights now. We found that the cooldown stim was too powerful because marine armies did not require any gas investments. And so we added in the medic instead of the medevac. We like the medevac, but we like the medic a little bit more. And so we're trying out the medic in our game. It's a recent addition, just to add a little bit of gas to that kind of an army. And speaking of that kind of an army, look at these storms running through, absolutely demolishing everything. Got some Archons morphing as well. This is going to be very tough. We've got harassment over here and a little bit over here as well. This base will pretty much never get up, but this main army over here, it's going to be up to Defilers. Can they get some? Oh wow, getting the observers uncloaked as well. A nice move, but there's just nothing to follow it up with. Only these 2 units over here. We've got so many Defilers, but no units to help them out. Orange is all over the blue team base, fighting through, and that's it. GG, well played, excellently done, especially with that runaround attack from the that main engagement that was, we can just return to the game. There was a main engagement over here, and running around over to this base and running through, and just totally ignoring that entrenched position from blue is really what allowed them to break through. So thank you everyone for playing, thank you everyone for viewing, and we'll see you next time.